When everything is lost, when death has taken more than one heart can bear, who still chooses love instead of walking away in the silence of despair? Is there a path that still leads to faith? She was a mother, left with only memories. She was a daughter-in-law, grieving too soon. Both widowed, both broken. Both broken. And when the time came to part ways, to return to their own people, one made a choice that changed everything.
Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God.
These words whispered on a dusty road centuries ago still echo in the hearts of those who dare to believe that covenant love fierce, selfless, divine can rise from the ashes of tragedy. This is not just a story of the past. It is a living flame, a legacy of faith, and a testimony of how loyalty, even in the smallest decision, can shape the future of nations. If you believe that God still moves in the quiet choices, in the broken hearts, in the faith of the forgotten, then like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Because this is not just about Ruth and Naomi. It is about you and the God who still writes beauty into our pain. Naomi, Ruth the movie. The days were dark in the land of Israel. It was the time of the judges. A time when every man did what was right in his own eyes. Famine swept across the land like a silent curse, and faith flickered like a candle in the wind. Naomi had left Bethlehem years before, fleeing hunger with her husband and 2 sons to seek refuge in the land of Moab. But Moab became a place of sorrow. One by one, the men in her life were taking her husband, her sons leaving her a widow, broken and bitter. All she had left were 2 young daughters-in-law, Orpah and Ruth. Now the famine had ended in Bethlehem. Naomi decided to return home, to the place of her God. But what of the 2 Moabite women? Naomi urged them to go back to their own families, their own gods.
My daughters, even if I could give you new husbands, would you wait? No, return. I am too bitter for you to follow.
Orpah wept and left, but Ruth stayed. And then, with trembling lips and tears in her eyes, she spoke words that would echo through eternity.
Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God.
It was not a command from an angel. It was not thunder from heaven. It was the quiet miracle of loyal love. And so Naomi turned back toward Bethlehem, not alone, but with Ruth at her side. 2 widows walking a road of uncertainty, yet one of them carried a faith not born from sight, but from the choice to love, even in loss. What awaited them at the end of that road would be far more than food or shelter. They walked under the sun, their steps quiet, their hearts heavy. 2 women, a widow and her daughter-in-law, stepped into a land they had once called home, but now felt foreign. Bethlehem, a place that remembered Naomi's past joys, and now would witness her sorrow. The fields had changed, the faces had aged, and for a woman who left with a full heart, but returned with empty hands, the journey was not over. It had only begun. They had no wealth, no men to protect them, no sons to provide, no place to sleep that first night, but the cold floor of a house long untouched. Yet there was no complaint, only silence and resolve. In Naomi's eyes, a sadness too deep for words. But in Ruth, the young Moabite woman who left everything behind, there was something else. A quiet fire, tender faith, a hope that refused to die. Too, morning came, and Ruth rose, not with tears, but with determination.
Let me go to the fields.
She whispered.
Perhaps I may find favor in someone's eyes.
She left with nothing, just her hands, her strength and her heart anchored in something unseen. And there, in the golden light of harvest, she found herself in the field of Boaz, a man of noble character, a relative of Naomi. And by no accident, but by divine design, Ruth gleaned in his field. She bent low to gather what the reapers left behind. Scraps for the poor, the forgotten. Dirt stained her fingers. Sweat ran down her face. But she did not stop. And then Boaz saw her.
Who is that young woman?
He asked. A Moabite, they said.
The one who came back with Naomi.
He watched her from a distance. Her movements humble, her effort unyielding, her care for Naomi evident. He approached her, not with power but with grace. Stay in my field, he said gently. I have told the men not to harm you. When you are thirsty, drink from the jars. Ruth bowed low.
Why have I found such favor in your eyes?
She asked, trembling. She asked, trembling.
I am only a foreigner.
Boaz looked at her, his voice soft.
I have heard all you have done for Naomi. How you left your father, your mother, and your homeland to dwell with a people you did not know. May the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge, reward you fully.
That night, Ruth returned to Naomi's home with arms full and heart stirring. Naomi saw the grain, but more than that, she saw the hand of God.
Where did you glean today?
She asked, her voice cracking.
In the field of Boaz.
And something changed in Naomi's eyes, like a storm breaking to let light through. He is our kinsman redeemer, she whispered. And days passed. Ruth kept returning to Boaz's field. Each time she gleaned, she left with more than food. She left with favor, with protection, with the sense of being seen. But the battle was not over. Not with swords, but with whispers, with social barriers. Ruth was still a Moabite. She could be rejected, shamed, left to the mercy of men. And Boaz, he was a man of status, of wealth, of standing. But Naomi had a plan. Not born from manipulation, but from wisdom and hope. My daughter, she said one evening, shall I not seek rest for you? A home where you will be cared for. And then came the night of threshing, a night of risk and of faith. Ruth washed herself. She anointed her skin with oil. She put on her best cloak, not to seduce, but to honor. Sis too, and in the stillness of night, Boaz lay resting beside the heap of grain, Ruth approached silently. She uncovered his feet and lay down. When Boaz awoke with a start, he was startled to see a woman there. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am Ruth," she said. "Spread your covering over me, for you are a redeemer." It was not a command. It was a request of covenant, a calling to something sacred. Boaz did not touch her. He spoke with reverence. "You are a woman of noble character. You have shown great kindness, not running after younger men. I will do all you ask. But first, there is another kinsman closer than I. If he redeems you, good. But if not, as surely as the Lord lives, I will." He sent her home with grain, 6 measures, a symbol not just of provision, but of promise. Ruth returned, heart pounding, soul torn between fear and faith. She told Naomi everything. And Naomi, with eyes full of ancient wisdom, said only this: "Wait, my daughter. The man will not rest until the matter is settled today." The miracle had not fully arrived, but the winds had shifted. The battle, fought in silence, in service, in fields and whispers, was reaching its turning point. For in this quiet war, Ruth had won more than a man's attention. She had become known, not for her past, but for her faith, not for her origin, but for her heart. And soon, she would become part of a lineage that would change the world. But that is for what comes next. And so, Boaz took Ruth as his wife, a union born not of convenience, but of compassion. The town gathered to bless them, not knowing that this Moabite woman, once a widow, Ornees would be the grandmother of kings. In time, Ruth bore a son. Naomi held the child in her arms. The same arms that once cradled grief now overflowed with joy. Her neighbors rejoiced and said, "Naomi has a son!" But more than a child, he was a symbol of restoration, of promise fulfilled. They named him Obed. He would become the father of Jesse. And Jesse, the father of David. Yes, the same David who would one day slay giants, write psalms, become king over Israel. From Ruth's line would come the shepherd kings, and generations later, the savior of the world. All because one woman in her darkest hour chose loyalty over fear, faith over doubt, and love over loss. The promises of God are never wasted. His plans are never broken. And his legacy often begins in the quiet yes of a faithful heart. Even now, that vow still echoes. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. This is not just a story of long ago. It is an invitation today. Are you ready to love like Ruth, trust like Naomi, and walk by faith, even in the smallest things? If this story touched you, share it. Leave a comment. Subscribe for more echoes of faith. May the Lord bless you, and may your legacy too be written in His eternal story.